Intel showed up in a major way at Twitchcon in a way that I honestly was blown away by. So we're gonna go over some of the cool things that I saw that Intel had on show at TwitchCon, because it was a lot more than you would think for just what I would have considered a streaming convention. Intel really came out with hardware, starting off with the Intel Creator Challenge that took place the day before TwitchCon, in which they had the finale of ICC, which teamed up creators with professional level modders to actually make a high-end PC that looked immaculate, and they had to construct it on the day, with a winner being decided, which was Blue Horse, and his mod was absolutely stunning. But also at ICC, Intel showed off the capabilities of their 13th gen processors, taking a 13900K and subjecting it to liquid nitrogen overclocking, which is something that I have had a couple of hands in over the years. And as South Africa's back-to-back two-time amateur overclocker, it was cool to see what Intel could do. And if you check out the videos where I've done liquid nitrogen overclocking back few generations, I was only able to hit 6.5 gigahertz on, I believe what it was, 8700K at the time. Well, with the 13900K, Splave, the #1 overclocker in the United States, was able to take it to 8 gigahertz and then up to 8.2, with him saying that it was easily able to hit 8.2 gigahertz on the latest 13th gen, and Intel's been kind of hinting that it actually even might be capable of a little bit more. The comment of it being easy does make it seem like these 13th gen chips are not only going to be fast out of the gate, nearly 6 gigahertz on their boost clocks, but also can be monsters when it comes to overclocking. But I think the thing I was most surprised by was the fact that Intel had dozens of 13th gen systems open and available for the general public to come and play on, with high-end GPUs, and even with one place having a 13900K with an RTX 3090 Ti on a mini LED 4K 165Hz monitor playing Cyberpunk. These next-gen chips were definitely on display. They wouldn't let me actually do any FPS readings, but what I could see is that these were handling the games flawlessly, and tons of people got to get their hands on the 13th gen before they're even available at retail. Which brings us to TwitchCon, because I got to see so many 13th gen PC builds. Intel really does seem like they are very proud of this next generation of CPUs, with them, I think, doing over a dozen PC builds with 13th gen processors, bringing in different content creators and influencers to help build it on stage with Robitech, which I just want to give a big shout out to him. He's a phenomenal guy, incredibly charismatic on camera, but just as good off camera, like a really solid person. It was fun hanging out with him and the Intel team while I was there. But on top of that, Intel also had their Arc GPUs out and about, which are launching sometime soon, but you got to see the A770 in action at the Intel booth. But they also had the Intel Arc truck, which has been going around to different venues showing off the capabilities of their A770 GPU, and I got to get my hands on with it with Ghostwire Tokyo, and it actually ran really stupendously. Some great visuals, but also a very smooth gameplay experience. So a ton of new hardware being shown off by Intel, and also allowing people to get their hands on it with the Call of Duty trailer, which exclusively premiered during Intel's live stream for the PC version of the game, and then people were actually able to play on 13th gen systems with the latest Call of Duty game, which seemed to be a huge success with a lot of people lining up to get their hands on that. But I think one of the stunners of what Intel brought to the show was their NUC division, which they showed off their upcoming Raptor Cove release on the NUC side of things, which I think got officially announced can support a triple slot GPU, but then they also had a unique implementation of their previous gen NUC, where they put it into a streaming PC and made it so that you can actually have the Intel NUC run as a dedicated streaming PC in a high-end gaming system. So it can handle all of the processing, and you don't have to lose any frames on your main gaming rig, saving you space and also saving you power consumption because of its ability to use Intel's QuickSync. So they had that set up at several different streaming booths, and I actually was able to stream a couple of times using this i9 plus NUC setup, and I ran it with no problems. Our OBS was streaming flawlessly at over 7,000 kilobits per second, and it had no hiccups whatsoever, and gets me really excited for some smaller form factor ultimate gaming slash streaming PCs that Intel actually might be able to participate in now that they've shown off the capability of the NUC, which can just slide into any PC PCI Express slot and get you easily up and going when it comes to doing a dual PC streaming setup. But I would also be remiss to not talk about some great creators that I got to meet at TwitchCon. From Robitech to Gordon Ung from PC World to Braythorn, I had a great time just meeting and connecting with other like-minded tech enthusiasts, and all of that being facilitated by our love for PC gaming, which Intel really seemed to hit home with at TwitchCon. The fact that they were providing an experience for people who love gaming but also want to do it on a PC, especially with the latest hardware. Just getting to see so many 13th gen systems built right before my eyes was really exciting. I can't wait until I get my hands on my own, which I believe they're coming out on the 20th of October, and I'm desperately awaiting that because they do look, based on everything Intel's been saying, to be a great generation of chips coming forward. And I think Intel being willing to have this big of a hardware presence at TwitchCon shows that they're definitely enthused about this generation as well. So big thanks to Intel for sponsoring my trip to TwitchCon. It was a great experience. I'd love to do more with them in the future, going to different expos, because they definitely know how to put on a show, and I had a great time, honestly. Like, the hardware side of things was just absolutely fantastic. Getting my hands on the latest gen before it's even out was really cool. Thanks, Intel. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.